Hello, this is Jeff Evans taking you through the practice assessment on the AAT Advanced Diploma. It's the second sample assessment and it's task 2.1, which is the spreadsheet activity. So let's have a look what we need to do. So it says you are Chris Makepeace, a part qualified accounting technician, and you work for New Place, a business which retails office equipment. It says New Place is owned and run by Mo Hussain. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff because you need to know that, and I'm sure you'll understand it when the time arises. Good practice though to get into that mindset. So I know this one says Mo Hussain has asked you to help update the budget. It says open the worksheet called December 2008, and it says that this contains the current budget performance of New Place for the 6 months ending 31st of December 2008. It says use the pro forma to calculate the current budget net profit or loss for December 2008. Use formulas where appropriate. And it says use the C columns for total sales, cost of sales and gross profit, and then B columns for subtotals. Okay, let's make a start. So this one, it says the sales volume is 10,000 units, average selling price 165, so on and so forth. So I'll take you through what we need to do. So first of all, we've got the sales. So the sales is 10,000 units times £165 gives us 1,650,000. And then we've got the cost of sales. So again, the cost of sales is equals 10,000 units times the average cost, which is 125, which gives us 1.25 million. So on that basis, we'll do the gross profit, which is simply sales minus cost of sales equals gross profit. Okay. We've then got the fixed overheads, and it tells us that the wages of the office staff, as we can see, is 102,500, rent and rates, admin, and so on and so forth. So equals wages of the shop staff, enter, 102,500. I can just drag that down. So we've got all the fixed overheads, add them together. So do an auto sum, which is 325,000. And then, as you know, so your gross profit minus your cost or fixed overheads gives you a net profit of 75,000. Let's go back to the task just so we can see where we're at. Just make it a little bit smaller. So we've covered the first part here, and we've done the subtotals that's been requested. It now says use a formula to calculate the contribution per unit in C26. We'll do the break even, the number of units to break even, and we'll also do the margin of safety. So 26, 27 and 28. So 26, 27, 28. So contribution, as I'm sure you're aware by now, is your selling price minus your variable costs, or cost per unit, which means that your contribution is £40 per unit. Your break-even point is your fixed costs divided by your contribution. So your total fixed costs in this exam or assessment is 325,000 units divided by the contribution means that to break even we need to sell 8,125 units, and then we do the margin of safety. So the margin of safety is, let's make it a little bit smaller so we can see, escape. Okay, so your margin of safety, so your sales volume is 10,000 units and your break even is 8125. So your margin of safety, as you know, is simply the difference between your sales volume, so I'll put it in brackets, so your sales volume divided by, so minus, so your current sales volume, which is 10,000 units, minus your break even, which is 8125, that will give you a margin of safety in units, and then we need to do it as a percentage, so we divide that by the sales volume, which is B3. It's come through 0 there, so I'll just change the format to percentages, and we'll do it to no decimal places because that's what it's got in the answer, in the suggested answer. So that gives us 19%. Okay, so you can follow that back through if you don't understand how we've calculated it, and then we'll move on to the next task. So we've covered this part here, part B, and then it says in the revised worksheet, it says copy the data from A1 to C28 in the December 2000 X8 worksheet and paste into the revised worksheet starting in cell A1. So we'll do that first. So A1 to C28. So A1 to C28, and we'll just copy it and go to the revised and go to A1 and then paste the information which we have done. So we'll copy that, blank that one out. It says use formulas which link the December 2008 worksheet and implement the following changes to the revised figures in cells B3 to B4. So we're going to increase the sales volume by 10% and the average selling price by 5%. So sure, the important thing is to link the two worksheets. So here in the revised, so we're going to increase the sales volume by 10%. So equals, and then go to the December 2008 worksheet. And this is important, you do it like this, otherwise it does say in the suggested answers you get it wrong. So D 2008. Let's do that again, sorry, because I'm not concentrating. Let's start again. Okay, right, so equals. So we're going to go equals the December 2008 worksheet. It's still done it, hasn't it? Come on. Equals B3, then it's times 1.1. That changes it for us. You'll notice it automatically changes the various other data, such as the sales. And we've also got the average selling price is going to increase by 5%. So again, so equals, and we'll go back to December 2008 worksheet. So the average selling price, which is B4, times 1.05. And that gives us the average cost of 125. And then you'll notice, because we've linked it across, that it automatically changes your contribution, your margin of safety, and your margin of safety percentage, so on and so forth. Okay. So those figures are correct. So we'll go back to the assessment tasks. We'll just highlight those. And it tells us to set the print area so that only new place current budgeted net profit loss for the 6 months ended 30th of December statement can be printed. So if we go to the current budget, and it's highlighted as you can see. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to give it a name. So it says here it's a defined name, so let's go over that again, because it tells us to highlight over this particular area for printing purposes, and obviously you go file and print. But what I think it's asking you to do is to define the name. So you'll see where the A1 is here, it will give the name of the print area. So file, define name, and you see it comes up with new place, current budget, performance, and it's got the click OK, it's got the range there as well. So if you click OK, and then what you can do when it comes to printing, if you just highlight over that tab, then you'll see it automatically brings it. I think it's once you define the name, so that's the best thing to do for that particular part of the question. So again, we've covered that part of it there. And then it says that Mo has asked you to prepare the capital investment appraisal in the new premises worksheet using information given in the cells B4 to C13. It says calculate the net cash flows in cells C17 to 22, use minus signs to indicate negative values, and then we're going to the cumulative cash flow, blah 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 blah, and then we're going to do the payback period. So let's go to the particular question, and it says here that we've got cost of premises is £260,000, the annual cost at 18,200, and that will give us cash inflows in those years here, as we can see, 68,400, so on and so forth. Okay, so the first thing to do is the negative cash flow, so equals, because it's a minus figure, I'm just going to put equals minus and then 260,000, and then you'll see it's given us the 260,000. But then we've got the cash inflows, so you've got 68,400 in the first year, but you've got annual cost of 18,200, so equals 68,400 minus the annual costs. I'm going to make that an absolute cell because that's fixed, because the annual cost comes off all of those yearly costs. So F4 puts the dollar sign either side of the absolute cell and press enter. Okay, and we can drag it down, and as you can see that the C5 stays the same through the absolute cell. You've then got the cumulative cash flow, so we've got equals, so the 260,000, and then it will be equals, so the 260,000 plus the 550,200. It still means after year one we still owe 209,800. Then we're going to drag it down, and we can see the rest of the table completed. So it looks like after 4 years is when we're going to get our payback period. We can see that after 4 years we still owe 37,300. So we need to work out what the payback period is. So as far as years is concerned, I'm just going to type that figure in. So let's have a look. So we've done that part of it there, and then it says calculate the payback period in years and in months in cells D25 to D26. Use a formula to calculate the number of months. Okay, so if we go back to there, well, we know it's between 4 and 5 years, as we said before. So 4 years. I'll just put that in the centre. And then the months, we've got equals, so I imagine you know from when you did the costing paper and the revision, so you got the 37,300, it's got a minus there, so I'm going to put minus D21 just to make it into a plus for calculation purposes. So D21 divided by 63,800, close brackets, times 12. Okay, just remind us. So we still got 37,300 needed to pay it back, and we're going to take it from the 63,800, multiply it by 12, means we've got 7 months. So 4 years and 7 months is our payback period. Okay. So again, we'll just highlight that figure. And then the final part of this assessment is, it says that Mo requires an internal rate of return of 12%, or a rate of return of 12%, sorry. It says copy the relevant discount factors from the table, and it says copy the relevant discount factors from the table of discounted cash flows into appropriate cells in the discount factor column, and then use a formula to calculate the discount cash flow for each year. So again, rather than read it through, let's do it. So we've got discount factors, it says are 12 years, sorry 12%. So we'll copy those discount factors down to 5 years. Sorry, let's do it again. Equals 12%, enter, and then we'll drag it down for 5 years. Okay, and then we've got the discounted cash flow, so we've got equals net cash flow 260. In fact, let's do that properly. So it's equals, so the net cash flow 260 times the discount factor, which gives us 260,000, and then we'll drag it down. So then you'll see that we've multiplied the net cash flows by the discount factors, which gives us our discounted figures, and then we need to do the net present value. So the net present value is obviously the 260,000 minus the total of the discounted cash flows. So I'm just going to do auto sum and then highlight over the information that we need, and then enter, which gives us a negative net present value of £55,908.40. So we've done that first part of it. So we've calculated the net present value. And then finally it says use an if formula in cell C28 to show accept proposal if the payback period is less than 5 years and the net present value is positive. So if that is the case, reject the proposal. Okay, so it's basically saying, so if the payback period is less than 5 years, which it is, and the net present value is positive, which it isn't, then we're going to reject the proposal. Okay, if all the conditions are met, then obviously we'd accept the proposal. So let's go and do the if function, which is in C28. So we're on to formulas, and we'll use the if function, so on the logical, so if, okay, and because there's two elements to this particular function, we're going to do the if and, so I'm going to put the and function as well. So the first part of it is if 4 years, so if D25, where it's put the plus there, I'm going to put a bracket, okay, so another bracket. So if D25, you'll see you've got the logical function on here. So if D25 is less than 5 years, so less than 5, which is one of them, which is true in this case. And then for the next function is if the net present value is greater than 0, okay, then we're going to accept the proposal. Let's just put a bracket next to the 0. Actually, no, it's after the bracket there. So if that's the case, then you'll see it changes back to the arguments, I suppose, now. So we've done if and, open brackets. See, so if D25 is less than 5, which it is, sorry, and if F26 is greater than 0, which it isn't, So in this example, we're going to reject the proposal. So first one, so if that's true, start again. If D25 is less than 5 years, which it is, and if F26 is greater than 0, then it's not. That's not right, is it? Yeah, if that's the case, and if that, we would accept the proposal. If that was true, and if false, reject. Okay, so they say obviously we reject the proposal because it doesn't cover all of the criteria. Yep. Okay, so there we go. Let's just go back to the assessment task, and then we'll highlight that also to show that we've completed it. And there we go. So I will shortly do 2.2, but in the meantime, the very best of luck, and hopefully this is helpful.